Hello and welcome to the Browns Blitz. Today is June 24th, Wednesday. This is episode number 352. I'm your host, Rod Bloom. We are part of the Fanatical Elves Network. You guys can help us out or help yourself out, however you want to look at it, by giving us a follow on TikTok and YouTube at Elves Network. We appreciate the support we get from everyone. Always love when everybody kind of jumps in the comments and joins in the show. So hopefully you guys do that with us tonight. We're looking forward to it. So joining me tonight is my brother, Jeff. How's it going, Jeff?
Yeah, it's going pretty good, Rod. Been kind of quiet this week, but gives you a lot of time for yard work, right?
That's right. That's right. And our guest tonight is Greg Urjevec. You can follow him at Urgeman Las Vegas on X. Greg, thanks for joining us. How are things going with you?
Well, thank you for having me. Going really good. Poker season out here in Las Vegas.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit about that, and understand you're going to be playing tomorrow. So hopefully, not just us, but everybody will kind of wish you some luck there. Hopefully you can, do well, maybe win the tournament. We'd love to see that for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I need all the luck I can get.
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, let's, I kind of mentioned this to Greg and he was kind of shy about it, but let's do our Blitz beverages. Greg, if you want to join in, great. If not, no big deal. So,
Okay.
So we're going to do our Blitz beverages. Greg, you already told me what you're drinking. I thought it was cool. You didn't. Do you want to tell everybody what you're drinking tonight?
Yeah, I'm drinking a Modelo out of a glass. It says Miller Time Las Vegas.
Modelo out of a Miller glass. That's cool. That works.
Yeah.
I like a Modelo. I think that's a good beer.
Yeah, it's smooth. It's light. I don't drink as much beer as I used to, but I've never been a real connoisseur like you have.
Few people are, Greg.
I just like trying beers. It's not like I'm a big heavy, I'm not a heavy drinker. I just like trying beers. So yeah.
I'm just afraid to try. I know I don't like really dark beer, so I just stick what I like, and that's about
Like
it.
this one.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. But I'm gonna let Jeff go first. So yeah. I don't normally pour it into a glass, and I'll explain that when it's my turn. But
Well, that's only people from Ohio that do that.
pour it into a glass.
No, they drink it right out of the can or the bottle.
Everybody else pours it into a glass.
What about they put it in a cozy?
Yeah.
Because
This is an
oh
Ohio
yeah.
a cozy. Yeah.
Well,
I got you.
depends
Yeah,
how fast you get.
the koozie.
That's how fast you're gonna drink it if you need that or not, Jeff. I guess. But,
Right. Yeah.
yeah. So,
I have a Sam Adams Just the Haze NA, Rod, and I've talked about it before on the show, but
Sounds good. I mean, I like
got it good tonight.
nice. Yeah, Sam Adams is good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. So, guys, this is kind of funny because I talked, I think, was it last week or week before, about my top beers out in Colorado Springs, Jeff.
Yeah.
And there was one at the New Belgium Brewery in the airport that they had on their menu that I was going to try, and we left and came back, and the waiter we had the second time, he said, "Oh, we don't have that." So he tried to sell me on something else, and I'm like, I've already tried that beer, so I'll just get a soda. Switch from beer to soda. Anyways, so I was at the local mart here that I go where they sell beer at a discount, and what do I find but a New Belgium variety pack that has this beer in it.
Nice.
Which is pretty weird. I've never seen this beer in Ohio. It is a New Belgium, if I can get in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Frambozen Reserve. Frambozen. And it is a rich tart raspberry ale with notes of chocolate and vanilla. I poured it in a glass because I wanted to see what it would look like, and it looks mostly like a chocolate beer. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool because you can taste both the chocolate and the tart raspberry. I'm not gonna pretend I can taste the vanilla,
Right.
but raspberry and chocolate together is pretty good. So
And I don't want to dox you or nothing, but you're like in the Dayton area, right?
yeah, I'm in the Dayton area.
And you found it at a store by you.
Yeah, it's called the Market, and anybody in this area, you should be shopping for your beer at the Market. It's a really small, independently owned place. The owner's in there quite often. They do little samplings and stuff. Just nice people.
That's cool.
And you get beer at closeout prices, and I don't care what season it is. I go in and look for something to try. So cheers, guys. Cheers to nice beer segment.
Well, I actually, one last thing. This is a few years ago now, but on X, I tagged Great Lakes Brewing Company because I like their Dortmunder Gold beer that they produce.
Yeah.
And I know they distribute it a lot in the Midwest, but they won't distribute it out here in Vegas. I said, look, I can make you some money.
Yeah.
I just let me buy a 6-pack.
Yeah.
But they just can't do it, logistically.
Right.
But
yeah, that's what I found when we were in Colorado. A lot of those breweries, they don't distribute anywhere. That it's just they just keep it local. And I mean, I guess the same is probably true a lot of places.
Yes.
And there's so many breweries out there, but it's
very
kind of a shame
to distribute across the country.
Yeah. So let's get to it, guys. We're gonna go right with the topic that's I guess forefront in the news, and that's Brendan Sorsby. And Jeff, it might feel like we're beating a dead horse on this because we've talked about him quite a bit on the podcast. Yeah. But it's what's in the news, and I mean, I put my opinion out there as far as him and the draft and the Browns, but now the draft's not happening, so I'm looking at this at a different angle, and what I see. And then I'll let you guys weigh in with whatever you want to say about this topic. And that is, I just think the NFL's stance on this gambling thing, especially with a kid like this, and I'm not taking all blame away from him, but I just think the NFL's stance on this is completely hypocritical. Completely. Every show you watch is, every NFL halftime show, pregame show is sponsored by a gambling app. But don't gamble. And I know it's a difference between fans and a player and all this stuff, but if they think punishing one kid like this is going to make this go away, it's not going to happen. This is going to happen with kids and players. This is the culture now. So I just think it's hypocritical for them to try to make an example out of him without them taking any accountability for what they're doing, with gambling and them glorifying it. And Greg, we've been talking about your poker. It's kind of, I'm not here to judge people for gambling, but the NFL sure is,
Yes.
So I've got a problem with it. I've got a problem with that. And I know Sorsby's, maybe he's done bad things. I don't know. But I mean, I'm not hearing all kinds of people bashing him as a person or anything. It's all about the gambling and not knowing what he's going to do in the future. That's it.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I'll just say there's a line, right? Me and you and Jeff can gamble on anything we want to, whether it's disclaimer, caveat here. I don't bet sports. I play poker, but I don't bet sports because I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough, right? And even if you're good and you think you're smart enough about it, it's a tough business, right? And so I don't gamble. I don't bet sports. But the line is, I think, you got a player, he's young. Even if he wasn't playing in the games he bet on, I don't care if it's $3 or $5 or $5 million. You, he has information, right? Even if he's sitting in the stands, he practiced with these guys. He knows the coaches, all that stuff. He's got inside information where he can make bets to his advantage. I'm not saying he was betting on Indiana to lose football games or win football games, but a lot of these apps that are available to everybody now, almost, I think it's 39 states.
Yeah, it's a lot.
You can go online and you can get the apps from DraftKings, FanDuel, whatever it is, and you can bet on anything. But if you're a player participating in that sports venue, you're on the team. That's where I draw a line. You just can't do that. You just simply can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you. I mean, it's very clear in baseball. You know, baseball makes a huge deal out of it. We're not going to talk about that, but yeah, I mean, I understand that, but I think that I feel like there's been a culture change with the gambling apps and everything, and the kids are brought up to do this, and that it's kind of acceptable and almost expected. For a lot of kids. So I just feel like the NFL is going to have to do something, you know, to take some accountability for what they're spreading to.
Well, you brought up baseball, and I think you're referring to Emmanuel Clase. You know, look what's going on with that. Do you think NFL is following that model as far as how do you handle gambling by a player? I know Sorsby wasn't a active player when he was betting these games, but he was part of the team. He knows everybody. He has inside information. It's almost the same thing, but not quite as bad as Class A was. Do you think the NFL is following that lead from MLB?
I'll let you answer that, Jeff. Let's get you involved in the conversation.
Well, thanks, Rod.
You're welcome.
Like any good shitter argument, you guys are both right. You're just looking at this thing from opposite sides of the spectrum. And Greg, I guess you've already answered this question, but I was going to ask you. If you were involved in a tournament and you found out that the dealer, the guy who's dealing you cards, had placed a prop bet on you to lose. I mean, how would that affect your enjoyment of the tournament, right? That's basically the situation with Sorsby, right? Is that he's now tainted to the point that you can't really rely on him to be a fair participant in football. And yes, Pete Rose got banned from baseball for life for doing this exact same thing. I've gone off on that in the past. There has to be appropriate punishment for the crime. The punishment has to fit the crime here, right? So here's a kid who basically lost his last year of college, which will affect his ability to make a living in professional football, one way or another. And I think he's going to suffer as a result. His career will always be overshadowed.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it'll affect his ability to make an income. It'll affect his ability to get contracts and win starting jobs and all those kinds of things. Right. I think the NFL, like all major sports, has to think about the integrity of their game first. And yes, it's hypocritical for them to be against gambling in one sense and pro gambling in a lot of other senses. But it has to do with the integrity of the game. And Brendan Sorsby has, by virtue of betting on games that he's involved in, has brought into question the integrity the games that he would be involved with, right? So
for sure.
The punishment fitting the crime here is that he'll be in the 27 draft now. The NFL has basically made a statement and said, we're not going to do a supplemental draft for this guy. He's going to get drafted along with every other quarterback in 27, and we'll let the chips fall where they may.
And let me interrupt you real quick. I don't agree on a lot of things the NFL does, especially Roger Goodell. He seems like he's a dictator. It's the way the NFL has been for years.
Yeah.
But I actually agree with the NFL on this one. They effectively said, even though he's not in the league, he's not a member of the Players Association, all the rules we see on X, people want to argue about. They just decided we're not having a supplemental draft, and they effectively suspended him for a year. I mean, otherwise, at Texas Tech, if, the NCAA came out and said you can't play, Texas Tech fought in court, and effectively they banned him from college football, right? And then he took a decision or made a decision, okay, I could just go in the supplemental draft. And the NFL took it a step further and said, well, we're not going to have one this year. And his lawyer, who happens to be the same guy who represents the NFLPA, he's going to go to bat for him, but I don't think they have ground to stand on, at all.
Like you said, the NFL's a dictatorship. They're not going to win that one.
Yeah, they're not going to win that one. And hopefully, I'm just hoping for myself and the Browns as far as the Browns go. 2 weeks ago, a lot of Browns fans, like Rod, they wanted the Browns to take a shot at him in the supplemental draft, right? Whether it's a 3rd round pick, 4th round pick, whatever. I've seen people mention 2nd round pick, and I thought that was lunacy, right?
Yeah.
And the people that I trust and I respect, the sports analysts, whatever you want to call them, that I have read about Brendan Sorsby he's a project quarterback. He's not plug and play, right? Yeah. You can't just draft him and say he's your guy. He's your franchise. They're reporting about him, NFL scouts and other people, saying that he would be a project that you need to develop. So I wasn't willing to give up a 4th round pick for him just because of the PR with the Browns. They already have a circus in the quarterback room. And I was telling Rod, we had our exchange last week. I go, I don't know how the PR people handle this when you got a guy, young guy, but he's gambling on his own team. And then you got a guy like Deshaun Watson sitting there. We all know about that.
So I don't think that's a fair comparison, Greg.
I know, but do you think that's a factor, like the PR part of it? Even if we got him for a 4th rounder?
Yeah, for sure. I think this team has shown that it's willing to take risks on players and give players second chances. Isaiah Bond's another example of that, right? I think with Sorsby, the difference is that he's taken ownership. He's acknowledged his issue. He's sought treatment for it. The Browns have a long history going back to the 1980s with the Inner Circle and Charles White of helping players through just exactly this kind of addiction issue. So comparing that to what we've seen with the risk they took on Deshaun Watson, I don't think that's a fair comparison. I think Sorsby for sure has talent, can play in the NFL at some point. Every quarterback now is a project to some extent, right? No one comes out of college football with NIL and the portal and everything. No one comes out of college football ready to play in the NFL.
Except for Lamar Jackson.
Lamar he was in the right place at the right time. And anyway, Sorsby will if he latches, this is what I said last week, so I don't want to rehash the whole thing, but if Sorsby lands in the right spot And I think the Browns would be a good spot if we had our quarterback. Okay, I don't think he can come here and be our quarterback. So I'm agreeing with you, Greg, on the fact that he's not plug and play. Okay, and I don't think you put the pressure of being the savior on his shoulders with all the other baggage that comes with it.
Of course not. I would hope not.
Yeah.
So
especially
yeah,
not for a third or fourth round pick, especially. But yeah.
And I compared it to the Ty Simpson situation going out to LA. If Sorsby ends up someplace where he's got a year or two to sit behind a veteran that's established and can figure out things, I think he can make it in the NFL because he's talented enough, right? But he needs that longer runway. And here, I think we could support him through the addiction part of it. I think we could deal with the PR part of it. But I think putting him in a position of having to be the quarterback savior for the Browns franchise, I don't think he could handle that.
Well, a lot of people thought that. A lot of the comments I'm just talking about before this decision was made. A lot of people assumed that he was going to be available in the supplemental draft, and they were saying a lot of things about, like, why not? Let's go get him. I just think Browns fans in general, they're desperate for a guy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I understand that desperation.
Believe it or not, I think Baker Mayfield was the last guy that we thought could be a franchise guy, Not a superstar, but a franchise guy that could lead a team. Yeah. But that's as close as we got. And then other than that, I think Browns fans are just desperate. Take a shot at anybody.
Right. Yeah. That's
ludicrous thing.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the shot should still make sense. That's why, to me, right now, it makes sense to play Shedeur Sanders over Watson because you're trying to see what you have. That's why, to me, it made sense to take, if you could get him for a reasonable amount and the gambling stuff made sense to the Browns, guys in charge, then you put a third or fourth round pick out on him. If not, you move on. And that's why if you have both of those guys on the team and you're still not sure, you still go after a guy in 27. You keep shooting your gun until you find the guy that's going to work for you, because the Browns need that guy, whoever it is, whether it's Sanders or the guy in the supplemental draft or the guy in 27. That's it.
Well, let me relate this to poker, right? So I flopped 3 aces, right? And the other guy's got pocket kings. And the only way for him to win is to get king on the turn and river card. I'm just tired as a Browns fan of taking these shots at that are low, they're low risk, it could be a high reward, but chances are it's not going to work out,
Yeah.
Well,
I'm just, as generally speaking for myself, I want them to name a guy, and I'm with you, Rod, and I think it should be Shedeur Sanders. Todd Monken came out, from day one and said, I prefer to know my guy heading into training camp, right? And so now that's changed, right? He came out last week at the end of OTAs and said, well, we're not sure yet, and we're going to let this go into camp. I'm just tired of that. I just want them to name a guy, right?
Yeah. No,
let the chips fall where they may. Because this year, basically, I don't want to say a throwaway year, but if they win 6 games, that would be progress. They have a very young team, a lot of new guys, a new coach, a new O-line. So it's going to be rough going, in my opinion. So I think you just got to give, okay, so the Shedeur fan base, and they're gonna, if they hand that job to Deshaun Watson, what do you think's gonna happen? I mean, it's just gonna be a nightmare. I don't envy Todd Monken for what the position he's in right now, but if they understand, the Browns understand that this year it's not a tank season per se. They're never gonna say that, but I think they know it's a tank season. They're in rebuild mode, big time. I mean, they traded Myles Garrett, that says it all right there. So they're in rebuild mode. And I think they're still going to have a really good defense despite the trade, because Jared Verse is a very good player, and I think he's more versatile than Miles. I'm not saying he's better than Miles. He's more versatile than Miles Garrett. I'm not worried about the defense. I'm worried about the offense. And all these new guys on the O-line, a new coach, new system, all that things are going against. I just think, you know what, his fans are going to say, you threw him to the wolves. You got a new coach. You got a new O-line. You know, you can't win that argument with Shedeur Sanders fans, because if you put him in, they're going to say you threw him to the dogs if he doesn't perform well, right? And then if you don't put him in, you say you're sabotaging him.
Yeah, you can't run your football team based on what the fans think about Shedeur.
I would hope,
especially Shedeur fans.
Look,
the Browns fans are going to see it a little bit more clearly than Shedeur fans.
Of course, I would hope so.
Yeah, well, they
should.
We're
one and the same.
They should.
I can't in conscience sit here though and say something different about Shedeur than what I just said about Brendan Sorsby. Okay. I don't think Shedeur is in a spot right now where he's ready to start week 1, especially considering all the changes that have happened in the offseason. And you just laid out the laundry list, Greg. You're going to take a young guy who's in his second year, who played some last year with not a lot of great experience. Okay. Really struggled at times. And you're going to stick him into a brand new offense with a bunch of young players, and you're going to expect him to show you what he's got. I think
very difficult. Yes.
I think you're opening yourself up for more criticism by doing that than by, and I said the same thing last year, really. We need to establish a successful offense. We need to have an offensive philosophy. We need to have an identity on offense that we can fall back on, which we haven't had in the last several years, that you can then plug a quarterback into. And if that happens in the first however many weeks, 6-8 weeks, whatever.
I'll say
now you plug Shedeur in and you say, okay, we've got a functional offense, and now you can really evaluate how he functions within that offense, right? And that gives you that clean on-ramp for 27. I've said it for the last several weeks. I whoever is our quarterback in 27 to have a clear path. There shouldn't be any more excuses, right? Yeah. We've got an established offense. We have an identity. We know what we're trying to do. Now we're just going to go find our guy, and we're going to plug him in. And we're going to find a guy who's ready to do that. You may still need to have a veteran to provide some leadership and to fill some gaps.
Always, yes.
Right?
Yes.
But I want that guy to have that clean on-ramp. And if it's Shedeur, terrific. Okay, if it's somebody we draft in 27, or if it's somebody we go out and find in free agency or via trade or whatever, okay, I think that's what this year has to be about, Greg. I don't think it's a throwaway year. I think it's about identifying that offensive approach and building that identity offensively. So
and that's all on Todd Monken. That's all on Todd Monken.
He knew what he was signing up for.
Yeah, so let me put a few things together here, guys. So I don't want to dive in too deep on this, but there have been rumors about Sanders trade rumors. Make of that what you will. Whether that tied in with the supplemental draft and the Browns' interest in Sorsby or not, I don't know. So I really trying to figure out what the plan is at quarterback with the Browns.
That's what I want to figure out.
Yeah, whether they're looking at just this season. I mean, obviously they're not. They traded Miles to get some capital, more capital for the 27 draft. So they're obviously looking at a way out in case they don't find a quarterback this season that's on the roster. But then we've also got the issue of I'm losing my train of thought now, guys. I was going to say, right now, we've spent the whole show talking about the quarterback position. This team has so many young players and everything. And we've talked about, finding a quarterback, and this team hasn't had a quarterback. are we putting too much emphasis on the quarterback position as this team is building the rest of the roster?
I don't think so. As a Browns fan, since 1999, people are impatient. I'm impatient, right? We need to find that guy. And we've been saying that for, 27 years, whatever it is,
Yeah.
I'm just impatient as a fan. I want to see if Shador is the guy. And the only way I think they can do that is just put Watson out of the equation. He's coming off 2 Achilles, right? Injuries.
Right.
I mean, we're not sure in the time that we have seen him. He's played 19 games in 4 years, and prior to that, he's played practically no games. So I'm not expecting him to be like 2020 Deshaun Watson. So I would just hope that they're going to give Shador a good chance, right? And a good chance to me is name him the guy during training camp. Okay, they're not going to name him before, but name him during training camp. Give him all the reps he can get in the preseason games. Just throw him out there and see what he got. The preseason, in my opinion, the Browns should be playing all their guys to see what they got, right? The O-line, they got a bunch of new guys on the O-line.
Right. And there's question marks there about who's going to start where. I think you need to figure some of that out.
Well, that's one big change I think you're going to see this year is that in the past, starters did not play much in preseason.
Hardly at all.
We're going to see starters playing a lot more in preseason this year. And that's a good thing. I want to be ready to play week 1, which has been an issue for us, right?
Well, yeah, you
kind of a country club environment, before where, these guys could take their time and ease into it and everything. And maybe by week 5, they're ready to actually play,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you want this offensive line to gel. I mean, couldn't you do that a little bit by playing a few quarters together in the preseason?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to risk injuries, all those things we worry about in preseason.
Yeah.
But I don't care.
That's okay. If you have a veteran team, that's one thing, right? But not where we're at with all of our young guys.
You got
These
guys
play.
that are young, some of them straight out of college. We're going to have probably 2 rookies playing the O-line this year. So put them out there, give them the reps, let them learn whatever system you're putting in. And you're risking injury to anybody, right? But
yeah, but I mean that's part of the game, and you guys, I find myself in the spot that Jeff was in earlier, where there's merit to what both of you guys are saying, because Jeff's talking about, it's not such a bad idea for Shador to wait a little while, which kind of makes sense because we know this offensive line is going to take some time to gel, and your rookie wide receivers are going to see a lot of playing time. So that kind of makes sense. But I want to see Shador, kind of as much as possible this season. But I'm trying to figure out how much that is. How many games do we need to see him play this season to really get a true read on him?
Well, we saw 7 games last year.
Yeah, well, it needs to be a lot more than 7. That's for sure.
Well, if it's decided that he's the guy for game 1, I would say 6 to 8 weeks minimum to see what you got.
But if you start Watson and Watson gives you 5 weeks and you get, whatever, 10 weeks out of Sanders. I know that's not 17 games, but if you get 10 weeks out of Sanders, is that enough to give you a good feeling going into the 27 draft, you guys think? Or Jeff? I should ask Jeff, because that's kind of where you're at, right, Jeff? That Watson play the first 3 to 5 weeks, and then if the offense is gelled a little bit, then you're comfortable putting Sanders out there to play.
Yeah, I don't want to see Deshaun Watson any more than anybody else does, but I just think it makes sense in this situation to play the veteran. We need wins. We need to learn how to win, right? And so you play the veteran who can help guys get lined up, who can do, do the things that it takes to make an offense come together for the first few weeks. I don't know what Deshaun Watson's shelf life is. I mean, does he stay healthy for the whole first month? I mean, that might be a long shot, right?
Right.
But at that point, I think you've at least started to figure out where you're supposed to play. And now when you bring your second-year quarterback in, he's got a chance, So I'm perfectly able to evaluate a quarterback in a short time period. It didn't take me 4 games to evaluate Dylan Gabriel. I mean, it took 4 throws to the right side of the field, and I knew what his limitations were. Okay,
right.
So
bless his heart. Yeah.
I bless your heart, Dylan Gabriel, absolutely, and I hope he's as an insurance policy, we never need him. But look, Shedeur will get plenty of playing time this year. He'll get a gift wrapped opportunity to win a starting quarterback job in 2027, and it's all on him. If he does, terrific. And I don't want to hear any BS about someone sabotaged him or they completely invested in the offense this year. All you have to do is give those guys time to figure it out.
And guys, there's still people who are just Shedeur Sanders fans, okay? And you have to block out that. I'm sorry, you got to block out that noise. And there might be some of those people listening now. And great. I mean, you're not going to find anyone on not us anyways who are rooting against Shedeur Sanders. Okay, we want this guy to come out and kill it and be the starting quarterback and lead this team for the next 10 years. Okay,
I love that.
But we're not going to make excuses for him. He needs to go out there and earn the job and play well.
He has 50 million followers, though.
Right, that doesn't matter to us. He's got to play well enough to be the guy.
So, Jeff, you're saying basically, not that you want this, but preferably Watson start the season, right? I had an interesting exchange with Lane Atkins over at the OBR. I'm not sure if you guys know who he is, but I respect his opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah.
This whole thing, Rod, you mentioned about Shedeur being traded. I'm like, that came out of left field, and it's the most ludicrous thing I ever heard. Shedeur is not being traded. Lane over there at OBR said basically the same thing. This is all BS.
It makes no sense. Yeah,
it makes no sense. None of it makes sense, right? I'm not even sure he's even tradable. First of all, who wants him? What are you going to get for him?
Right.
And I've seen people mention things like second rounder. I'm like, you are out of your mind. No one's giving up a second rounder to Shedeur Sanders, but he's not being traded anyway. It's all a nonsensical topic right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All I can say about Lane is if Lane says it, it's true.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
Yeah, Lane's been on the podcast, and I hope to have him back at some point. I need to reach out to him. So, but yeah, Lane is awesome, 100%. So let's move on to a couple other things, guys, because we could probably talk QB all night. But yeah, Jeff, I wanted to bring up this article that you sent me and said this would kind of be fun to talk about.
Sure.
Jared Mueller, Dogs by Nature, put out an article about Joe Hayden and how he blew his or the good majority of his first $12 million. Was that just his signing bonus, or was that his salary his first year? I'm trying to remember. I read the article.
I'm not sure which it was, but
it's been several days since I read the article now.
He did some interesting math. It might have been calculus or something, because it went from like 12 million to like 3 million in the space of 2 sentences.
I saw the 12 million number, but I didn't read the whole article or listen. He actually made it on a podcast, right? He was saying these things.
Yeah, I guess.
Didn't actually watch the whole thing. I just whatever, dude.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty comical to to read his comments and think about how this, if you put this in context of the average working person, okay, and you got $12 million dropped in your lap, okay, and most people would figure out how to live the rest of their life very comfortably.
You would think so. Yeah.
Even if they had to pay taxes on it, okay?
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Take out
that
the taxes, all that stuff, that's standard.
If that wasn't the case, I guarantee you the lottery would be out of business, right? Because every single person believes that they can hit the lottery and change their life.
And be done. Yeah.
It's going to change your life, okay? Winning the lottery does not necessarily change your life, okay? Making good decisions changes your life. And Joe Hayden was woefully under-equipped to make good decisions with his money.
And he's not the only guy. I mean, obviously.
But he made it sound like everybody goes through this. You get a whole bunch of money and you got to spend it, right? You got to throw a bunch of cash at your parents so they can buy a house. You got to do this. You got to do that. It's like an obligation when you have money, right? To just throw it all over the place and buy yourself a Bentley and all these kinds of things.
My question is, do your parents and your brothers and I mean, does everybody need like $5 million, $3 million, or $2 million a piece?
Yeah. Well, look,
to be good.
I don't know where they live or what their standard of living is, but I'm willing to bet that with $12 million, you could probably enhance wherever they were. Right?
I'm thinking
it's a lot. It's woefully out of touch with reality for him to make those kinds of comments, and it makes us as fans really question why these guys make so much money.
Yeah. I mean, it's a small percentage, I think, of the NFL players or any pro sports, but it is a percentage. I don't know what it is, but I would say if you're like last night was the NBA draft, those top 5 guys, top 10 guys, they're getting a lot of money thrown right into their lap, and you need that guidance, right? But when it comes to family, there's no guidance on how you treat your family. Money doesn't last forever. I think it's a small percentage of pro players that probably have financial difficulties. I want to say somewhere, it's probably a big number, between 15 to 20% of them. Say they get drafted to the NFL, whatever it is, baseball, basketball, hockey, and they get dropped in, a big signing bonus of $10 million. How do you handle that? It's a tough question, but you would think, like you said, average Joe fan, I know how to handle that. I'm not going to.
Yeah, I just think it's a bad look. I mean, I watched Entourage. I understand how these guys have a bunch of hanger-oners, and they want to be cool to all their friends and everything, right? But the look that for him to make those kinds of comments when Joe Brown's fan is blowing $100 on a ticket, and that might be
they're feeling
his meal money for that week, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
It's a terrible look. He was trying to pretend like he was struggling. Like, dude, how do you struggle with $12 million? I mean, he gave us his answers. He wasted a lot of that money. I guess I appreciate he was being transparent about it, but I don't feel sorry for him at the least bit.
No, I mean, he gave it to his family. I mean, it's not like he wasted it. He gave it to his family. He gave his family a little more than probably what he should have out of that money if he really felt like he didn't have enough left over.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not give your family $10 million out of the $12 million.
Yeah. Well, look, I don't honestly don't care what he did with the money.
No, it's
fine. I just think as a player, he should be setting an example for the rest of the players, saying, don't make the mistakes that I made. Right?
You're right.
When you get your signing bonus, hire a financial professional who can help you navigate all this stuff.
Yeah.
Need guidance.
Just make that comment.
Yeah. Yeah, all I was saying is if you feel like you gave too much of it away, don't give so much away. You know, I mean, if you felt like you needed a little more, for you,
I don't think for him, he can't put that toothpaste back in the tube, but
he couldn't say no.
He could at least advise future players,
right?
In a way that's positive versus saying, I needed more money at the time so that I could live in the fashion to which I've become accustomed, like Zsa Zsa Gabor or something.
I mean,
yeah, I need new tires on my Bentley.
Lamborghini.
Lamborghini. I think Joe Hayden, by the way, I think he's doing just fine now. I think he was just telling his story.
Yeah.
And that's
I don't know what his message was supposed to be. Like, feel sorry for me. I don't feel sorry for him.
No.
Well, I didn't feel sorry for him. But, yeah, I mean, it said he made $78 million in his career. I think he's
there. You go.
I mean, if he doesn't have any of that left, then I don't feel sorry for him at all. I mean, I'm thinking he's probably doing pretty well.
Yeah. No, you know what? I like Joe Hayden as the individual. I like him as the player. Yeah. I respect the fact that he came back and retired as a Brown. All those kinds of things. I'm pro Joe Hayden. I just think in this instance, I think he had a massive missed opportunity in the way he shared this information, and he could have done some good with it versus coming off like a kind of a crybaby.
Yeah, he came off the wrong way. I'm not sure what his intention was or his goal was, but to me, it didn't come off, the way he thought it might.
Yeah. But anyway, Jared, thanks for the laugh.
Yeah. I mean, there's other athletes that came out and did the same thing. There's a lot of athletes came out and said, I wasted all my money. I'm broke. Look at Delonte West from the Cavs, The guy went, Webster from the Steelers back in the day. The guy just went flat broke, living on the street, homeless,
Yeah.
I think it's a small percentage of players that go through that part, but there's a large percentage that they need financial guidance and when they get into the league.
And I think the NFL tries to do that. It's part of the rookie indoctrination process. I just think that veteran players could take a role in that as well. And Joe would be a good one to do that.
Yeah.
Don't make the mistakes I did.
And who's the guy who played defensive line for the Browns? Carl went to the Raiders. He used to teach Browns. He used to do a course for Browns rookies as they came in because I think he was a finance major and things, and he actually understood stuff. So he took it upon himself. To assume that role.
Carl Nassib.
Nassib, right?
Yeah. Remember that meme that came out about him? He had the chart, like the whiteboard in front of him, and he was teaching on finance, like a mathematical equation.
Yeah. He was showing guys how, what they needed to do. Because at that point, I don't think the NFL was really doing that. So he took it upon himself. So, teams or the NFL, they need guys like that. And just like you're saying, Jeff, and they need vets to step up and say, I made mistakes. Here's what you guys need to do. If we're going to feel sorry for the multimillionaires for a little bit, here's how you can be smart and not blow all your money right away.
Oh, it's absolutely the best thing they could do for a young guy, especially if they're 22, 24 years old.
Well, these guys, I mean, I get it. I mean, these guys don't understand that money's not always going to be there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, any comments tonight, Rod?
What's that?
Do we have any comments tonight?
No comments tonight. I don't know. Is this thing working?
They probably blocked you because,
Well, we're going Wednesday, Jeff, and I think maybe some of those guys are used to us going Thursday.
Yeah.
So hopefully, some of our guys will be back with comments on Thursday.
We could talk about it a little bit. Training camp starts July 23rd. The rookies show up, and then 5 days later, the 28th, the veterans show up. So I'm looking forward to that.
About a month. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got hard dates now they announced, and the Hall of Fame game is August 6th. So it's coming up pretty quick.
It is quick.
Mhm.
Yeah, I got two other topics, guys. So
Let's go.
First off, Barry Shuck, also with Dogs by Nature. These guys do a great job over there. Barry sent me an article because honestly, guys, I've been kind of swamped. Haven't been able to keep up with a lot of stuff. So I really appreciate Barry saying, "Hey, here's what's going on." Great guy sent me an email. He did an interview with Gary Barnidge with just, I think it's 25 questions with Gary Barnidge. Came out on June 17th, and if you guys haven't read the article, it's just really great. Gary Barnidge just very open about everything. Not afraid to say what's on his mind. So
I loved him when he was playing for the Browns.
Yeah, just
He's got some hands, man.
Definitely.
What was it, 2015 that he had the 1,000-yard season?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He catch everyththing that come near him. He just didn't get enough playing time for some reason.
Yeah.
A lot of questions about the 2015 season and things surrounding that, and some a lot of great stuff in that article. So I would encourage everybody to check out that article if you didn't see it when it came out. So just either go to Barry's page or the Dogs by Nature and check that out.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to mention is there's talk about possible Jerry Jeudy trade, and that we're in a spot where that could possibly happen. And Jeff, we've talked about Jerry Jeudy and how maybe this could be a good year for him. With the rookies here and it being a contract season and all that. I guess a couple things. Do you think it's a good idea to trade him at this point? With the experience on this roster, if he's gone, and the other thing is not just about trading him, but why don't we just go with that first while I gather my thoughts on the rest of the question?
Okay. I guess my question is why are we trading him? Are we trading him because we think he's no good? In which case, you're probably not going to get much for him. Are we trading him because we don't control him beyond next year?
Beyond the season.
See my previous comment. Are we trading him? Yeah, are we trading him? We're not exactly talking about Myles Garrett here, right? In terms of value. So what is the point for me? What is the point in trading a guy who has every incentive to go out and play well this year? I would want him to go out and have a career year this year, right? So that he can set his market value going forward. And he's got every reason to do that, right? So I don't think we have so much depth in the wide receiver room that we can afford to be just giving that away. I don't like the guy any more than anybody else does. I'm just saying. Yeah, logically, let's see what he can.
I don't know what you get for a guy who had 600 receiving yards last year and his salary's like $20 million, right?
Right. Yeah. Who's going to trade you?
What are you going to get for that guy? What are you going to get?
Pick?
Yeah, day 3 pick. I think there could be tremendous upside with him, and the chances of the Browns re-signing him are probably very slim.
Right? Very slim.
Right. So Greg, do you see any point in trading him? I don't know. Do you think beyond the fact that he has upside in what he could do in a contract year, do you think it's good to have him around as the veteran for these rookies?
Well, the only reason why they might trade him, if some team is willing to give up a lot of cash, would be to make room for the new guys, Concepcion and Denzel Boston. But to me, that wouldn't make sense. You're talking about rookies, right? You're assuming you got two studs. Okay, and I think Isaiah Bond, I think he's the best receiver on our team. Right next to Jerry Jeudy. They play different roles, but Isaiah Bond, he impressed me last year in limited participation, so
he gets a lot less targets. I mean, last year I didn't look at the target numbers, but I'm sure he had way less than Jerry Jeudy.
He catches everything. He's a barn burner. He runs good patterns, but he's still young. So now you throw in. I would be in favor. Like, there's no reason to trade Jerry Jeudy, right? First of all, no one's going to take him, and what are you going to get for him? It's just basically a cash deal, $20 million. No one's going to do that. So he's a great guy to have on the team, no question, especially with this draft, right after this draft, with Concepcion and Denzel Boston. It would make sense to keep him, but I don't know. I haven't seen anything about Jerry Jeudy being traded anywhere. It's kind of the same thing, with Shedeur Sanders. It's just not going to happen unless they're trying to somehow manipulate the cap and all that, with Andrew Berry. But
I'm not familiar with how his contract is structured, how much of it's signing bonus and when those dates are. But my feeling is that you get to the trade deadline and you've probably paid most of his money anyway. If at that point the season's gone south or he's just not playing all that well and you can recoup a day 3 pick at that point, then it probably makes sense, right? But now, let's see how it makes sense now.
I mean, I think the only way it makes sense is if you've absolutely sold out on the youth movement and you just want to see more of Concepcion, Boston, and Bondi, because it gets all of those guys more targets.
I think it would be Bond mostly. It would be Bond mostly.
Mostly Bond. I don't think the overlap are going to get their playing time anyway.
Yeah. And I think they just play different positions, really. I think
they're different.
Bond and Jeudy are going to be really going at it for targets, I think. Bond he did a nice job last year in limited opportunities. He just really needs to develop his route tree. And he got bigger in the offseason. He wants to be able to play over the middle. If he can show that, and in whatever opportunities he gets in the early part of the season, maybe he does make Jeudy expendable at some point.
I'll just say he was a surprise to me last year as a rookie. Bond, I gave him no chance, because of his history, right? The way he entered the league. And then, man, he actually performed pretty well the limited time that he had. He's got good hands, it seems like. And he's a football player. He's a football player.
He's football over track. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, he took advantage of the opportunities that Shedeur had for sure.
Yeah.
Because nobody else was throwing the ball that far down the field.
Okay, one thing I want to mention real quick. Denzel Ward is sitting there in the background. I think there's a real possibility that he may no longer be with the Browns here pretty soon. I'm not sure because are they going to want to pay the guy, on another contract for $30 million a year? I don't know what Denzel Ward feels like. He says he wants to stay in Cleveland, but that's something that's kind of sitting in the background because what they did with Myles Garrett. I don't know what the Browns' thinking is on this, but I think there's a real possibility that Denzel Ward gets moved. For assets. How Andrew Berry loves that shit.
We don't have enough depth right now behind him to even entertain.
I know. It would not make sense at all, but I'm thinking they're trying to get rid of his salary,
I think he's the same boat as some of the other guys. I think it's where do the Browns stand leading up to the trade deadline? How bad does it look? And I think it's not only the trade deadline, it's the quarterback play and how serious do they have to get about that 2027 draft too, and then at that point, it's what kind of offers are they getting for Denzel Ward? That's how much of a need does a team have for him?
Well, it's going to be a good offer. I would say a first rounder plus his take his salary. It's all on them. I think he's still that good. He is that good.
Oh, I
And
think he is too.
I would hate to see him leave, right? Through a trade or otherwise. But I just think that might be on the table, coming up this season, because you're asking the same questions Myles Garrett asked 2 years ago. Where are we going with this franchise? According to the reports, he went to the ownership. He went to Andrew Berry. I'm not sure I want to stay here. He requested a trade. Now, Denzel Ward is a completely opposite type of personality than Myles Garrett. He stays under the radar. But why would he want to stay if he's yearning for a Super Bowl? And the way the direction this team is going,
I think
two things.
Go ahead, Jeff. I'll let you say.
Two things about that. I think Denzel likes it here. He's from here, and he's evolved into a leader. Secondly, if assuming you move him midway through the season, which is probably the most likely scenario, right? I don't think anybody in their right mind is giving up a first round pick for a half season rental.
Well,
because he has no guaranteed money beyond this year. Okay, so I think the Browns probably will see how this plays out, how his health holds up, and so forth. He could be one of those scenarios where they just have to let him walk into free agency and set his market, and then talk to him after that. Maybe he comes back, maybe he doesn't. Right, kind of like a Nick Chubb scenario, right? Depending on where he is at the end of the season. They also have the issue of extending Grant Delpit again. So the off season is going to be really interesting in terms of the secondary. There's a lot of question marks going into 27.
And Delpit's been pretty much a no-show, right, this year?
Well,
OTAs and all that.
Yeah, I mean, so is Harold Fannin. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I wouldn't worry about that.
I'm not too worried about that just yet. Delpit, I think Delpit probably will get extended, just because he's a little younger than Denzel and a little healthier. We're just going to have to see how it plays out with those two guys. It's just we're trying to solve for too many unknowns right now. I would be really surprised though if anything happened with Denzel Ward before midway through the season.
But I don't think it's off the table. But Delpit, do you think there's a dispute there? He wants an extension?
Of course. Yeah, of course. The players have no leverage when they're in his spot. I mean, he's in the same spot that Myles was in last year. Basically, he wants his contract extended. He wants guaranteed money. He's got no guaranteed money. He's got nothing beyond this year, right? So he's going to use whatever leverage he has to try to get that extension worked out. When it comes time to show up for training camp, he'll be here.
Yeah, I hope. Yeah, the other issue that you talked about previously, Jeff, is trying to replace, and again, we're talking about the replace, and I'm talking about Denzel. So Denzel is one of the best corners in the league, but it's just finding somebody who can fill that position adequately. And
you just don't want to get a number one cornerback.
Yeah, so that's going to be very difficult. So you either want somebody back, in a trade who's, going to help you fill that spot, or
like the Campbell trade.
Yeah, like the Campbell trade, or you're looking to the draft, and you've already said that 27 draft doesn't look real great for corners.
No, not for press guys for sure. That Tyson Campbell Greg Newsome trade was like a really one-off as far as the NFL is concerned. Those kinds of trades almost never happen, player for player in the NFL.
Yeah.
So to be able to pull something like that off with Denzel, it would be a long shot. I think you're almost better off just extending him at some point. And Andrew Berry's just going to have to let that market play out. It could take all year to figure out what that looks like.
And I think Denzel himself has a lot to say about that. It depends on what he wants to do personally. when it comes to himself, his family, everything. What's his goal? Do you want to keep playing it, to contend for a Super Bowl? Or do you want to keep playing for the Browns because it's your hometown, your home state? Those are big. I mean, it sounds petty, but those are big decisions for a player. Like you got to uproot your family and move to another city, if you're interested in being traded. I don't know, because Denzel Ward is so quiet publicly. We don't really know where he stands. He says all the right things,
He does, yeah.
Yeah, I want to stay in Cleveland. I absolutely believe that he does want to stay in Cleveland. But, money talks and, things, it's a business.
Yeah, it's hard to know everything about that situation. But yeah, I think we'll figure it out.
A couple of weeks ago, they were talking about Denzel Ward, on Twitter. I mean, I'm like, he ain't going nowhere, but no. It's certainly possible. I don't want to be like Tony Rizzo and say Shedeur Sanders is on the trade block. That's the most dumbest thing in the world,
Well, yeah.
I don't think Ward's on the trade block, but I'm sure, depending on the circumstances, his goals, the Browns' goals, that conversation has to be had.
You would think so. Yeah, you would certainly think so. Okay, guys. Well, let's get some closing thoughts as we get on at here. We've been going at it for a little bit. So Greg, it's been great catching up with you. Great talking some Browns. And again, best of luck with the poker tournament. We want you to bring home a win, a championship.
Big money.
Any closing thoughts tonight?
I'm just looking forward to thank you for having me again, and thank you for the luck on the tournament. But I'm looking forward to training camp, the actual training camp that's starting on July 23rd. We're going to get to see the rookies show up. Then a week later, the veterans show up. I'm really curious and anxious about how Todd Monken is going to handle this situation with the quarterback. We all know that he said on day one, almost the first time we met him publicly, he'd prefer to know his quarterback before training camp. Ideally, everybody wants that, but it's the Browns, and we don't know who that is. And we've seen snippets, OTAs, minicamp, all those things that just happened. And to me, that's not enough to see. I mean, how good is Deshaun Watson at coming off two ruptured Achilles? How good is Shedeur Sanders? Has he learned? Is he speeding up his throws? We don't know enough, and I think Todd Monken's going to – I don't think he's going to get it but more than a week. When the veterans show up, in my opinion, I think Monken is going to know who his guy is prior to the first preseason game and just name that guy, right? Like Jeff said, I would prefer that be Shedeur Sanders, right? If they're both equal right now, and Monken, the coach, doesn't have an idea of who his guy is at this point, just go ahead and name Sanders. I mean, just name him, throw him in there. I don't know about Watson. Right, he might be the better guy. He's the veteran. But there's a lot of question marks about him. What's that say about him that the head coach can't decide between him and a fifth-round draft pick last year? That doesn't say very well things about Deshaun Watson, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I hope they name the guy by the 28th, a week before the first preseason game, or 2 weeks before. I just want them to name a guy, and if it's me, it's Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, excellent. All right, Jeff, closing thoughts tonight.
Yeah, with regard to all these trade ideas and speculations and so forth, for me, there's one standard: does it make the team better? I'm not trading guys because I don't like them or because I want to save money or any. The ultimate measuring stick is does it make the team better? And trading Shedeur Sanders right now in the situation that we're in doesn't make the team better.
No.
Unless we're getting Patrick Mahomes back in return or something ludicrous like that, right? So, yeah, when we get through the silly season right now that we're in of all these, speculations and so forth, then we can really start talking about what makes the team better. And I think Andrew Berry has shown a propensity to explore every possible avenue to make the team better. It doesn't always work, right? But he's going to explore every possible avenue to do that. I've said this last few weeks, and I believe it 100%, that this organization thinks it's a lot better and closer to winning than the fan base does.
Yeah.
This fan base we're so jaded now that we almost expect to lose every year.
Yep.
We'll just lose this year with the idea that we'll be better next year, right? I don't think they went into the offseason with that mindset. I don't think they went into the coaching hire with that mindset. I don't think you hire a 60-year-old first-time head coach if that's your plan. I think you would have hired one of those young guys and you would have said, okay, here's how we're going to build it over 5 years. I think when they sat with Todd Monken, they said, we have two quarterbacks that we think can both play. How do you feel about making them play? And Todd Monken answered the questions correctly, and then that's how he ended up getting the job, right? I think they knew that Deshaun Watson was going to get another chance this year. So, look, I'll wrap all that up, put it together, and shake it up, and what you're going to end up with is a team that thinks it can win but has a ton of question marks to figure out how to do that. So everything else for us right now, you might as well just be guessing, because until they start putting on the gear and playing, we're not going to know anything.
Yeah.
And if we win 6 or 8 games this year and we learn some things about some players and we have a better idea going into next year, I think every fan in Cleveland will be happy, but I don't think ownership will. I think ownership and the front office expects this team to be better than that. Let's see if I'm right.
I think you're right.
I hope you're right.
I hope so. This has been the Browns Blitz. We thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time.